Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new season of Wellness Mantra. I'm your host Himani, and over the next 8 weeks, we will be discussing various types of medical issues and conditions. Yes, we want to empower you with the knowledge to manage and maintain a healthy lifestyle as well as to live illness-free. Just like you, I've got a lot of questions, so I'm going to join the journey with you to figure out the mantras to that. As you know, many today are suffering from joint-related aches and pains, and this can cause a considerable limitation in our daily routine. Furthermore, as the aging population is on the rise, the incidence of fragility fractures are also on the rise due to falls associated with underlying osteoporosis. Research has shown that more than 8.9 million succumb to fragility fractures worldwide across men and women every year. So, let's get started, and let me introduce to you Dr. Hitendra K. Doshi, a specialist orthopedic and trauma surgeon practicing since 2001. Also a veteran in humanitarian projects and a regional speaker. He will guide us on how to overcome these two issues of concern today: joint-related degeneration and fragility fractures. Hello, Dr. Doshi, and welcome to Wellness Mantra.
Hi.
Dr. Doshi, my very first question to you: why does a person suffer from joint-related aches and pains, particularly in the knees?
I often see many people affected by many different problems, maybe the spine, the shoulder, the foot and ankle, but the knees in particular are rising in numbers.
Right.
Now, the underlying problem is basically over the years, with repetitive use, there would be some degree of wear and tear, either affecting the joint cartilage or the ligaments or the tendons. And this typically, when it affects a particular joint, it's basically what we call as arthritis.
Right.
And the correct terminology is degenerative osteoarthritis.
Doctor, joint-related degeneration, how does this affect a person's life, one, and what are the preventive measures?
Number one is pain. So pain can be significant, especially when they start walking or when they are bearing weight. The second issue of concern is joint stiffness. So many may suffer a lot of stiffness after a prolonged period of immobility.
Yeah.
For example, if they are watching a program and they want to get up suddenly, they find it's getting very stiff. And of course, the third aspect, when the condition is rather severe, they will find that the range of movement in the joint is significantly limited.
Okay.
Now, the issue of prevention is, I think, very important here, because many of these injuries happen from younger years.
Yeah.
So I think the preventive aspects has to be adopted throughout all ages, and with significant adaptation and lifestyle modification, many of these issues can be preventable so that one does not end up with significant knee arthritis at the later years.
Doctor, this is about joint-related degeneration. Let's move to fragility fractures. Why has a concept like fragility fractures become such a huge concern today?
When an individual succumbs to fragility fractures, beyond the fracture itself, there are many other associated complications which affects an individual, such as many of them who succumb to a fracture may end up getting bed sores, getting chest infections, urinary tract infections, and if they don't address the fracture early enough, then there is a high chance of significant morbidity and even mortality. Therefore, it is very important to prevent fragility fractures.
Yeah, definitely, because it does sound scary. So what are the ways to prevent fragility fractures, doctor?
First of all, you should avoid injuries and avoid falling, especially in the elderly age group where your senses and your reflexes may not be as sharp, and that particular individual may be more vulnerable in getting a fall. Now, second issue of concern is many people, as they age, they may be having a certain degree of osteopenia or osteoporosis, and many of these problems may be due to inadequate intake of calcium and vitamin D. So when the bones are basically brittle, and if someone succumbs to a fall, then the bones will easily shatter and they end up with a fracture. So it's important to address this issue in a very holistic way from a younger age so that you prevent the incidence of osteopenia and osteoporosis. And at the same time, as an elderly wants to be active and you want to age gracefully, it's also very important to ensure that you minimize the risk of falling.
Finally, doctor, what is your mantra for our viewers?
Right, so the wellness mantra which I want to share is hum sab log ko khushi rehna hai. And for this, I think we need to preserve our joint mobility and function. And for this, I think the one mantra which I like to tell everyone is early diagnosis.
Right.
Because if you get to the root of the problem at an early stage, you can adopt a very holistic approach in managing the problem, and you can prevent the occurrence of further deterioration. And at the end of the day, especially at our golden years, we want to age gracefully and live happily.
As doctor mentioned, early diagnosis and a great lifestyle is your key to avoid joint-related degeneration and fragility fractures. Thank you so much, Dr. Doshi. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.